All right, guys, here continuing our journey today, we're going to be doing our wings. So you'll need a board and a piece of parchment paper, melted chocolate, and then you want to, I have a little, remember your designs for your wings, so you can pick one of these or you can create your own template. You're gonna cut it out like I did here and have that ready to go, and you'll need a paring knife to cut it out. So with the melted chocolate, we have this one, and we have from the warmer, you can take from either one. And so remember to wipe the bottom, wipe the water off the bottom. And you're going to take some chocolate, probably, depending on the size of your wings, you probably only need one big ladle. And go ahead and pour that on there, just like that. And then you're going to take and tap it. Now, if we were doing lots of pieces, we would do it in a frame and we would make sure it's nice and level. But we're doing 2 little wings, that's all we need. So you just tap it to get any bubbles out. And then you're gonna let that set. So that's gonna take a little while, so we'll come back to that when we do the other stuff. But you wanna make sure your puddle's big enough to fit your 2 wings on there. So you can see I did 1 ladle, plenty and big enough. I'll show you how we cut that out in just a little bit. Now back to our dragon. Today we're gonna focus on our smaller details, our backbone, facial features, any kind of spikes and horns we wanna put in there. Do you have a question? Oh, okay. And then, so that's what we're gonna work on. If some of you did this yesterday, if you haven't done it yet, after you got the dragon nice and all the bumps and lumps out, you wanna do a little quick polish. This is the one time where you can actually use water on chocolate. So you take a little sponge and some hot water and squeeze this out really good. And when you do this, you're just gonna polish the dragon, and it looks like we're putting a lot of water on, but it's actually this hot sponge is kind of warming the chocolate and buffing out anything and going to make it look even better. I did mine yesterday, but I wanted to show you again. That's all you're gonna do, and let that polish it, get it all smooth. You don't want it to be lumpy and bumpy. You want it to have a nice finished look to it, okay? So that's what you're gonna do before all of that. And you don't use the sponge until you've warmed it up and smoothed it out with your hands first. And then the final step is with your sponge. Okay, now what you're gonna be doing is, first I want you guys to put a backbone on your dragon. So you're gonna take the Robocoo chocolate again, and we're gonna roll that out. We're gonna roll a small amount out into a long rope. And I'm gonna warm the back of my dragon up too before I put that on, because I'm gonna be blending it in. So I'm just gonna take and just make sure it's not, just a little heat. Don't get it melty, just a little warmness going on there. And then you're gonna take this little piece you got and you're gonna put it onto, make sure it's nice and warm. Put it onto the back where the spine would be. So it's gonna look like, it's gonna look like a little rope up there, if you can see that. See, but we're gonna blend that in like we blended everything else. It shouldn't look like a rope on his back. It should look, when we're done, like it has a backbone. And you do that with your 2 thumbs, and you're just, this is where hot hands comes in handy. It's gonna blend that right in again. Make sure you're going down the center where the backbone should be, and all the way down the neck too. And it's not really so much of a backbone on the neck, but you'll see why it's important when we go to add some spikes to that. But see how I'm blending that in? I'm just taking my fingers and going out, and then I'll even smooth that all out once I get that on there too. You want to make that all one piece again. So we're constantly smoothing and then destroying it again and then smoothing again, but it's so much easier if we continue it. And then it's your choice. If you want to go down the tail, you can. I usually try to stop right here, and then I'll still put some spikes on there, but I don't really need the backbone on there. And it's right at the tail. And if you're having a hard time blending it and it's just like, it's too cold, you can use your heat gun again, because you want it to just kind of give the impression that it's got a backbone on there. So I'm going to put a little bit of heat on there so I can make sure that blends. It's like there's no heat. The beef one is no heat. It's terrible. Yes, can I get a different one?
That's not good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What happened? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work. We definitely adding that. Okay. Little heat.
It's a bloater.
Yeah, it's a blow dryer now.
It is a blow dryer, basically.
Okay, so I get a little heat there, and that's where I can really get that to look like it's one piece again. So go down the sides, blending again. If you want, you can go over the top if you want more of a flatter backbone. That, get rid of that piece there. Now we're going to work on the face next. I'm waiting for my chocolate because my chocolate here has to be has to be firm enough to where I can touch it, but not so hard that when I cut it, it's going to crumble. So we got to get there's a fine line there.
Hey, Chef, on that part, is this where you could add little spikes?
Yeah, we're going to get there too. We're going to let that
okay.
set up a little bit, but yep, we're going to do that too. So if you want really fine ones, I can show you that. You're going to take your, I kind of tend to like them to be a little bigger, but if you want to do really tiny little fine ones, you can take your knife and your knife should be a little bit warm too. So kind of use your knife like this and get that edge warm. And then when you go in on an angle, and if you flick it up a little bit, you're going to get little spiky little pieces like that. So that's an option too. You can do that. I'll show you another way in a minute too. So many different ways you can do it, depending on your dragon and what you want. Okay, now we're going to work on the face, and the face is probably the hardest thing. So it's still going to be done with the Modeline chocolate, and you'll notice I have like no face, and the head is a little bit not perfect, but we can fix all that with the chocolate. We can balance that all out. So the first thing I want to do is kind of take my knife and draw a line down the center, what I think to be the center of the face. Now you won't see this when I'm done, but it's going to give me an idea of where I have to put everything. So I get a little line there, going right down there, and that's going to make sure that I know where to put everything. And then I also going to say where about I want the eyes. So the eyes are kind of farther away because they do have longer faces, but I'm going to put a little dot, a little marking. It's just a marking to give me an idea where I want the eyes to. Okay? Then I want to get my Roboku chocolate, and I'm going to first start with that line and put I'm going to create bone structure in the face. So I do that by taking a little bit of chocolate and going down that line that I put there, right down his face, and I'm going to smooth it in like I did the backbone. And this is going to create, you know, that center line, that bone structure.
Bridge.
Yeah, that bridge, there you go, in the face. Thank you for helping me, Tom. And then, so now I've got that in there, and then I'm going to take, and it's weird, you're not going to see it yet, it's going to take a minute. So I've got to build the face out because usually there's more cheekbones and the face goes narrow. Now if you're doing a completely different face, a round face, you're still going to have maybe a snout that you have to build out. Everyone has to build out something. So I take a little chuck and I want the face to be even, so I'm going to take that little ball and cut it in half so that I can put one on each side. So it's going to look really weird when I do this. It's going to make no sense at all.
I would pick eyes.
Yeah,
Looks like it.
and it's not his eyes. It's the cheeks and the side of the face that we're doing. So you're going to take this and you're going to blend this in.
It's got earmuffs on.
He's got it. I'm going to leave that to the side for a second. Just do one side. And you're going to blend that in, and we're creating just more facial structure. Get the other side on. If it doesn't stick, just stick in. And once your warm hands get to it, you want to do them about the same. And blend it in. And same thing, you don't want to see that you put too big chunks of chocolate on there. You want to blend it in so it's not noticeable, and then it will come together. You'll see it will come together once I start putting in the eyes.
Right.
Just when a lot of students' heads pop off right around here.
Yeah, so you're gentle. You're gentle. If you have a weak neck, this is the when it will happen. But it should be fine. You should be fine. Now,
Okay,
so
probably both.
let's work on some of the eyes. So this is the tool you're going to use. You want something that's kind of got that point and round ball like that. And then you're going to go and put the eyes in. So the eyes are going to go right here into that little kind of part of the ball that you put there, but at the top portion of it. I'm going to go, I go in at an angle. Now this is because this is the way my dragon's eye looks. But you're going to put that in, and it's only going to, you're going to still add more. And I kind of drill, see I'm spinning it. And if you're having trouble, I need a little bit more heat on that. Blend it a little more.
Yeah, easy, just go cold.
Drill. You want to create an eye socket. Now today, we're not going to put in any eyeballs in or things like that until tomorrow. So there'll be final touches tomorrow. The wings, we'll make them today, but we're not going to put them on until tomorrow. Okay, so everybody see how I've got a little eye socket there? But I still want to make that more kind of prominent, sticking out. So I'm going to take a little bit of my chocolate, and it's almost going to look like I'm putting an eyebrow around it, and I'm going to frame in that eye. So I'll show you that once I get that on there. So see how it looks like I put big eyebrow on that? So, but I did, but I'm going to blend that in so that it makes it stand out a little more, gives a little more structure to the face. And I got to create a cavity because I'm going to be putting an eye in there tomorrow. So I want to create that. And you can see that bone structure on his face is coming a little more alive there. Of course, he looks funny because he only has one eye, but hopefully I can get the other side looking the same. There you go. Now, when the face too, we got to create more of the front of the face too. So I'm going to add a little ball to the end of his nose there and blend that in so that I can give him nostrils. So I'm just sticking that on too, putting that in there and blending that in. And that's good. It's good because you're adding softer chocolate, so that's going to make it so that you're going to be able to stick in there and get some nostrils out of there too. Now, tomorrow we'll work on horns and things like that because the horns are they're delicate, so they keep breaking off. They get in the way, so we'll wait to put those on. Now that I have that chunk that I added there, I'm going to go ahead and take the end of my tool, the same one I used for the eyes, and I'm going to go in there and put some nostrils in. So I like them to have like little flared nostrils, so I'm going to put that in on each side. And the nice thing, if it doesn't come out right, it's just chocolate, just erase it and do it again. But you want it to be pretty much balanced. At this point, some of you have mouths that are open, some of them are closed. Even if they're closed, you want to have an impression that there's somewhat of a mouth there. So carve that in, or if you have your mouth open, tomorrow we'll put teeth in, we'll work on other things you might want there. Be careful though, you don't want him to look like he's smiling unless he's drinking a cup of coffee. But we'll get that in there. So you can see the face is coming. If you look at this side, you can see he's got a face there, and blending that in. And he'll look even more like a dragon once we get horns and spikes and everything in. So that's the face, and of course I have to finish the other side here. But you get it, you get it. You do one eye, you do the other. Now, when you're doing your spikes and horns, there's a couple ways you can do that. Like I showed you, you can do it with your knife. I like taking and rolling out the chocolate. I roll it out, and then I flatten it. So I make a little flat piece like this, And then I cut little triangles like this, back and forth. And then you take your triangles and you're kind of warm them in your hand a little bit. And you can add this to the backbone here and there, however you want it to be. Let's add a little more heat again. Show you how that goes. Put that on there, go right into there. Get that stuck in there and kind of blend it like we blended everything else, and you can point it. So if you want more dramatic spikes on there, and you can do them whatever size you want. And then when I take another one, I space them. And it's good because even if they get hard here, your hands will warm it up a little bit. And just kind of put them the way you want them to be. Blend them, make sure they don't look like they're just triangles stuck on there. You want to blend them in, shape them, or do your spikes however you want to do them, and wherever you want. You can go down the whole back, or sometimes because the wings are here, I won't do right here, and I'll do down the tail. If you want to do something fancy with your tail today's, that's what you would do there. So these are the little details you're going to put in there. If you want to do a chest plate, you can do the chest plate with the modeling chocolate. So we have a bucket of that already made, so you can roll that out and you can add, or say you were doing clothing, some of you want to put aprons or vests or whatever on there, you can make that out of the modeling chocolate. It's easier than doing it with this because this will get too hard and crumble on you, where the modeling chocolate just kind of shapes and bends and stays more malleable than the Robocook chocolate. So you can do that and add that to either a chest plate or a thing. And I'll show you guys that too. So can you, Joey, grab the modeling chocolate that's over by the gum paste. So I'm showing you bits and pieces. Obviously, I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing, but I'm going to go down and finish these small details. Today's about the details if you're to this point. So the modeling chocolate is going to look like this. Don't get it mixed up. So don't make sure it doesn't get put in, that doesn't get put in this bucket and this into the sheet pan over there. Is there an open one, Joey? No, this is a brand new one. Should be an open one.
Chocolate fudge icing isn't the same, is it?
No. It says modeling chocolate with a little dragon on it.
Yeah.
That no?
There's another one that's not open.
Sure? All right. Okay, so
I might be lying to you.
okay. Thank you. So the modeling chocolate, but you'll see it's going to look a lot like what we already have over here, but it's going to feel different. So it's going to be and when you first take it out of the bucket, you're going to be like, it's too hard. You got to knead it a little bit, warm it in your hand. Hot hands help. And then we're going to roll this out, and we're going to make what we want to make. And there's a couple things. Say you want, sometimes the dragons will have, like, instead of a chest plate, they might have a little bit of scales on there. And a good way, you can do a texture in your dragon. So say you want a little texture in there, you can carve it all in there with your tool. Whoa, with your tool, you can carve it in with one of these, and then it's going to look kind of scratchy, like when we carved our base, but then the heat gun will take those scratches away. So you can do that too, if you want more of a texture on there. It's time consuming, but if you're way ahead and you want to do it, it gets done. It goes by fast. And then if you want to just do places, like say you only want scale here, I'm going to show you that, show you two different things on that. Get a couple texture things that work well. It's okay.
She
I'm gonna
edits
edit.
it.
It'll be fine.
Chef, can you color the Milo chocolate? Like if you want it white?
No,
No.
you can't, it's dark. Now, they make white modeling chocolate, but I don't have any. We've had a hard time, we used to be able to get it in, we can't get it in anymore. So, we only have the dark. Which it's okay because it's all chocolate. It's supposed to, sometimes when you get crazy with the colors, you lose the fact that you made a chocolate dragon. So I'm gonna roll this out a little bit so that it becomes what I need, because I'm just gonna go right down his neck there. Of course, I wouldn't do this until I finished all of my other details, but because I'm demoing, I'm showing it to you. Give you all your options here. Remember, these are just all options. Nothing's, the only thing that's required is that it has 4 limbs, wings, a tail, a face, and you do have to have horns or spikes or something, some kind of detail on there. Okay. So we got our modeling chocolate rolled out. And I'm gonna, for this, I'm gonna do a little bit of texture. So I like this because it looks like scales. Sometimes I do, you'll see on the other ones where I put a chest plate so I can score it with my back of my knife and do that. This time I'm gonna do this one, something different. And I'm just gonna cut out a strip here. I may have to adjust it once I get it on there. And save all your scraps, we re-roll them. On, and then I can add this, and I can trim it when it gets on there too. So it's gonna make them look a little different too. And see, I'm way too long, so I'm gonna trim that off. Yeah, get that off there, mark that right there. And a little bit of heat so it sticks a little better for me.
Must be something in July.
What's that?
It must be hard in July.
Yes. It is a little bit harder, a little bit. But we still do it. It still works out. Okay, get that right where I want it. And then I'm gonna trim a little bit up here, make it look, match a little better. He's turning a little bit, so. Thinner there. So it matches the length of his neck here. Okay. And then I'm going to give it a little press. Make sure it's on there, and I'll seal that so it looks a little better. And a little heat gun again. Especially on the sides. Kind of blending this to the sides and so it looks a little more natural too. And remember, you can do other things, like the other one I had a chain on there, so anything. Sometimes students will put a sword with their dragon, treasure, coins, all kinds of things. But see why I'm doing this? I'm gotta be careful with my other stuff. Okay, all right. So just some ideas or some details that you might want to put on there. Now see my chocolate over here, how it's setting up here but still soft in the middle? The whole thing has to be set up before I can cut that out.
Then you can add movement to the wings tomorrow, or you do that?
The wings, yes, movement tomorrow. So we're just gonna get the basic shape, and then if you want your wings to be bent a little bit like some of those, I'll show you that tomorrow. Okay. Same thing with the tail, if you wanna add something different with the tail. Oh, let me show you. Same thing, if you wanted to do a chest plate, you would just do it like however you wanted to. Put a line down the middle with the back of your knife, and then you can score in your little vest, whatever they call them, shield marks there. And then you would put this on the same way if you were doing that one. But I want to do scales today.
Chef, could I cast my ears?
Yeah, you can cast the ears too. Yep,
Donkey ears?
you can, or you can shape them with the chocolate and let them harden and then put them on. You know, like you're modeling it, so you take a little bit and you're gonna shape your size. See, you have to look at your picture and see what works. You could try both. You can cast them, it doesn't work, you do it the other way. So, I don't know, sometimes the tails have little things going out, or you can leave it just like this. When you do, so this is modeling chocolate, this was my other chocolate, my Roboku chocolate. So modeling chocolate, don't get it mixed up. You'll know this one will never get hard, this one will. When you go to do, you can make your spikes, your horns today, but I'd recommend not putting them on, because if you put them on, they're just gonna get in the way, and they're gonna break off, and you're gonna be constantly replacing them. But you can make them and shape them. So basically, you're gonna make the horns that you want on there. Pretty simple. Set them aside. So, just make sure if you're doing it,
Donkey horns.
so you shape them. If you want a little curve to it, just leave it over on your tray, but just set those aside and we'll put them on tomorrow. We'll put everything on our half sheet pans, okay? All right, so lots to work with today. I'm gonna finish the spikes and the rest of the face, and cut out my wings once that's ready to go. The only thing you need to know about this, and I'll call you guys over, when you do cut this out, you're gonna need to make breakaway pieces, because say I cut this out and it's in the middle of the chocolate, then that means that how are you getting that out of the center of it? So you need to cut from the outside in to your stuff so that you take away the breakaway pieces first, and then you're left with the wings. I'll show you that when my stuff is all hardened, okay? So lots to do today. Yeah, okay.